Hi, my name's Jodelle. Welcome to my channel. So I'm so happy you found your way over to this corner of the internet. Today, I'm talking about something that I'm really passionate about, and that is dynamic speaking. And dynamic speaking is so much more than just the inflection in your voice. The reason why you want to be a dynamic speaker is because you want to hold the attention of those around you. Dynamic speaking is such a great way to get people bought in, to get them hooked into your stories. It makes you really engaging and it makes you very charismatic. There are some key things to dynamic speaking that you absolutely have control over. So stay tuned for the 7 reasons about dynamic speaking, and I'll give you another YouTube recommendation at the end for somebody who is an amazing dynamic speaker and is doing really great things in the industry. So let's jump into it. So one of the things with dynamic speaking that I have found myself, a trap that I've fallen into, is I can come across really excitable, which makes me look really young. So one of the things that I've found that helps with that is I will sit down, or I'll put a foot up on a chair that's close to me. That looks a little casual and it might not work in all settings, but in the settings that it does work in, it really keeps me grounded and it keeps me a little more stable and I don't get very dancey. It just helps me really anchor myself. I use the inflection in my voice and I use my hands a lot. I try to tame down that excitability while still keeping the dynamic aspect to it. So I've broken this down into 7 strategies, and here is the first strategy. Know your audience. Take the setting into account. Take the age range into account. Like I just said before, when I put my foot up on the chair to help steady myself, I really have to take into account what setting I'm in. I'm not going to do it in a really professional setting. It'll be more in the meetings that are like marketing meetings, that are a little more casual. People are wearing jeans, but dress shirts. So that more casual setting where you're talking with colleagues, knowing your audience also means knowing the age range and the subject that you're speaking to. If I'm speaking to an older group and they're from head office, I'm going to act a little differently with that crowd than I would with my peers. Just like you would act differently with your boss than with your friends or your coworkers, or even with my family, right? I consider the setting that I'm in and the inflection that I should use in my voice and the articulation that's needed. I'm a little more relaxed and off the cuff and not so well-spoken with my husband or my kids because I'm a little more relaxed. The second strategy is to start with a hook. And a hook is something that's going to get the listener engaged. And the easiest way to start that is by asking a question. A question's really easy because it gets them talking and it takes that pressure off of you. Now, once you've gotten more comfortable, another great hook that you can use is sharing a story. Share a story that's relatable. That gets the other person engaged right off the bat and makes you dynamic because you have something to share or you're really engaged in who you're talking to. The third strategy is inflection. Now, you might be hearing me use inflection, and I will emphasize some words more than others. And that is the inflection in my voice. That is the up and down. It's making it interesting to listen to by speaking louder, by speaking softer. I'm almost using my voice to punctuate my body language and my words. That is inflection. Imagine if I came up to you, I'll do it 2 different ways. Hi, my name's Jodelle. How are you? Now, I've used a question to use the hook, but it's not very engaging, is it? And it's not very dynamic at all. Now, if I came up to you and I said, hi, my name's Jodelle. How are you? That's gonna have a totally different vibe, a totally different meaning to it. I'm probably gonna look a little more friendly and a little more open, and it might be a little more engaging for you to wanna talk to me. You're also putting the other person at ease by using inflection because you're almost putting on a show, and they know that you're confident and that you're going to be able to carry this conversation and there's not gonna be those awkward silences. So use inflection to your advantage and practice. Practice in the mirror, practice on camera, practice with your friends. Let them know that you're gonna be trying different volumes, different cadences. You might draw out some words instead of using filler words like and I think and kind of. Sometimes you can find a filler word that will let you breathe a little without sounding like a filler word. And one of the ones that I use it a lot in my videos and I try to cut them out, is I'll use and so, and I just kind of draw it out a little. It gives a little sing-song tone to the word so, and it just buys me that couple of seconds so I can get my thoughts in order and continue on with what I'm saying. Remember, variety is the spice of life. Strategy number 4 is the power of the pause. And you want to get really great at this. Pausing for a moment or asking for a moment to think about what somebody has said is so incredibly interesting to watch because you know that something incredibly unique and powerful will be following it up. The power of the pause also slows you down. If you tend to be a quick speaker and rushing through what you want to say, that's a sign of lack of confidence. It's also a sign of nervousness. You've kind of got that nervous energy and it kind of gets you wound up. Or it's excitability. That's something that I have to remain conscious of because I get really excited. I get really passionate about what I'm talking about, and I can just go a million miles a minute, and that will work against me in becoming that dynamic speaker because it's almost a little too much. Sometimes I can be a little too enthusiastic in my passion and forget my audience. So I have to remain really mindful, and using the pause will really help slow me down, take a breath, slow down my heart rate, slow down my breathing, and really be a more dynamic speaker. Strategy number 5 is to be present. Make eye contact, smile at the person. Be present in what they're saying. Really listen to what they're saying. Don't think about what you're going to say next. A really great example of being present and showing that confidence, if somebody sneezes, just say bless you. It usually gets a little giggle. It breaks the tension or whatever's happening in the moment, and it really puts you down to earth and makes you relatable. And it's such an easy little win to be conscious of and an opportunity to show that you are engaged and that you're totally present. Both feet are on the ground, you're making eye contact, somebody sneezes, oh my goodness, bless you. And then you carry on. That's also going to make you look more dynamic. And the whole point of this is to be as dynamic as possible. The 6th strategy is body language. And I would use body language to your absolute advantage. I have a great video all about body language. I will post it up here or here. I can't remember which side it's going to be on, but it'll be a little banner and it will talk about body language. I will also put up after that a video about the handshake, because handshake is certainly a part of body language, making that great first impression. So I'll pop that one up there as well because it is a super fun video to watch. So with body language, you want to keep your shoulders open. You want to be square to the person that you're talking to. If somebody kind of walks up to your group, open your shoulders to them, welcome them in, say, hey, come on, join us, and then continue with what you're saying. And this brings me back to my first point. I know that I get a little dancey. I know that I get a little excited. So I will plant my hands on the back of a chair. I'll put my foot up on a chair. And all of those things are to actually keep me a little more still and to take up a little bit more room because I do tend to cross my arms, usually behind my back, and then I'll cross my feet. So I start taking up less and less space. And when I catch myself doing that, I usually need something, a prop or whatever, to kind of get me over that hump of feeling a bit more confident and taking up more space. Being aware of your body language and using that to your advantage is going to make you more dynamic, especially if you use your hands. I use my hands for so much, and that is like adding punctuation marks onto what you're saying. So use your body language, use the inflection in your tone. There's so many things at your disposal to make you more dynamic. And strategy number 7 is to be adaptable. You can see the engagement on the person's face. You can tell if your point has hit home or not. Or worst case scenario, you've offended the other person. You stuck your foot in your mouth. You said something that you definitely should not have. You didn't think before you spoke. I know this well, and I have had to do apologies for stuff that I have said. Oh, it's awful. And that just goes into maybe not pausing before you say something or not reading the other person. If you can tell that the conversation is going downhill or it's not landing, sometimes you might try a different strategy and then it really fails because you're just not the right match. Maybe your energies just don't match. You're not speaking the same language. Your communication style is just it's not similar enough. And that's okay. Dipping out of a conversation because it's not going well is okay. You don't have to stay and try to press your point and win the other person over. You can definitely give it a couple shots, but really the best case scenario in that moment is to just let it go, let it die, and maybe try again the next time you see them and try a different strategy. So being adaptable in that moment is a skill that you learn through practice. And a lot of this is through practice. So yes, you're listening to a video. I would take one of these points and try it in your next interaction. pick up the phone, call a friend, call your mom, call your dad, whatever it is. Try one of these strategies. You can even let them know, hey, I'm trying to work on my speaking skills. I want to be more dynamic. I'm going to try the power of the pause in this conversation. So if you hear some dead airspace, that's me practicing. And then try, write it down, make little sticky notes all around you so that you can remember what you're working on. So when you enter into a conversation, it doesn't just fly out the window. You're going to look at it in your car. You're going to look at it on, maybe it's a little sticky note on your phone. That's what I like to do, little post-it notes on my phone because I forget to open my phone and actually look at it. It will remind me that, okay, I'm working on the pause, or I'm working on the hook. And then I'll write down maybe a couple of questions that help with that hook. So if I have those couple of questions written down, ready to go, then it takes out some of that anxiety for me as I enter into whatever I'm entering into. It doesn't just have to be business. It most certainly can be with friends, and you can practice with friends. At the end of the day, that dynamic speaking is going to make you more charismatic as well, and it will make you more articulate. You're slowing down that cadence and you're becoming more aware of the words that you're using. And now we come to the part where I have a great recommendation for a YouTuber that I have watched. He's really great, and I love the message that he sends, and his name is Vin Jiang. And I think I've said it right. Of course, I will link his YouTube channel in the description, and I'll put his name up on the screen as well. He's all about dynamic speaking, articulation. He's really great, and he is someone that has some really great examples of pre-awesome speaker and then post-awesome speaker. I really like that he uses the example that your voice is a musical instrument. And if you think of it like that, then you can talk really excited or you can talk really slow. And if you use your voice to deliver the message in such a way that it makes it more interesting for the person to listen to, then you might not have to be as good of a storyteller right off the hop. You can practice those things by using different inflection in your voice and becoming more dynamic in the way you speak and the way you engage with people. That will buy you some grace so that the content of your message is something that you can work on and build as you grow. And then once you can marry those two things together, amazing content with a great delivery style, then you have just found that key to success. So I wish you all the best. And if you like what you saw and you like me, remember to sub if you love, and I will catch you in another video. Bye.